France adopted a new law banning Muslim women from wearing full-faced veils, and it is being met with fierce opposition. The law, which went into effect on Monday, declares that it is illegal to hide one's face in public. If someone is caught violating the law, they could face a fine of about 115 euros, which is approximately $215, or be forced to take lessons in French citizenship. And joining me now with reaction of the founder, president of the Alliance of Iranian Women, Manda Ervin, is with us, and the co-founder of Muslims for Progressive Values, Pamela Taylor. Pamela, as I understand, you support this, or you don't support this, I mean.
I think that the ban is problematical on a lot of different fronts, so I would give it limited support. I think there are legitimate public safety concerns, but we also have to worry about freedom of religion and violating freedom of religion.
But isn't this for a reason? And the reason being that as France and Belgium and Great Britain have tried to show tolerance, Sharia courts have emerged in many of these countries. And unfortunately, there's no assimilation. There's become a society within a society. And the idea that Sharia, which is often behind a lot of this, is imposed in separate courts, doesn't that create a conflict with a free society?
Well, I wouldn't support separate courts for Sharia. That's a legal system problem. That's not a problem with religious interpretation. How they would let themselves develop Sharia courts, I'm not quite sure. I mean, obviously, you've got a constitution. You've got to uphold that. You don't want to have a dual legal system.
Yeah, Manda,
but this
your
is something
thoughts?
Different.
Manda, also, you come from a very interesting background because you were in Iran during the Iranian Revolution, and you saw up close and personal what happened. You want to explain that?
Yes, in 1979, all the rights that Iranian women, my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother had fought for 100 years against the clergy, Muslim clergies, to get human rights and equal rights. In 1979, they were all taken away from the women, and they are now under the second-class citizenship, the women of Iran, and that's why they are fighting. The hijab is not an issue of religion. It's the issue of patriarchal hierarchy in Islam that has total power over the women, 50% of the population. And that's the control that patriarchal hierarchy wants to keep over the women. Most of the Muslim women who have been emigrating to the West, I know deep down in their hearts, they want their husbands or their fathers to be forced by the Western laws to let them have choices. And if the day they gave them a choice, they will take the hijab off.
Pamela, this is the problem.
I don't think that's true.
Pamela, if we look at Sharia as applied, look at Saudi Arabia. They have a morality police. Women cannot be seen in public with somebody that they're not related to, a husband, a brother, etc. Women are not allowed to drive.
Yeah, this is problematical.
Women in Iran under Sharia are beaten and stoned to death. So I think the fear is in a free society, and there's been cases in America where Muslim women don't want to take off their veil for a driver's license, for example. So isn't this really about Sharia?
I would not agree with that.
What?
I wouldn't agree with saying that someone doesn't have to be identified in public, right? When you have your driver's license, you need to have your face uncovered. If a police officer asks to see you, you need to be able to uncover your face.
What about the application of Sharia?
Right. Sharia is a very complex thing. It has personal law. It involves, how you pray, how you eat, and things like that.
How about the treatment of women, which is what I'm referring to?
Right. So when you get into the treatment of women, there's differences of opinion to begin with. And there's also, should be freedom of religion, right? This gets us right back to the whole burqa issue.
But women aren't free.
If you believe in freedom of religion, you should not be enforcing your interpretation, whether it's patriarchal or not patriarchal, whether, how strict it is or how relaxed it is.
But that's what's happening.
That should not be forced on women.
But tell that to the women in Saudi Arabia and Iran and in other countries.
Absolutely, and they're fighting against that, as they should, right? I mean, I support secularism in Saudi Arabia and Iran just as I would in the U.S. and in France.
All right, we got to leave it there. Thank you both for being with us, and appreciate your time. Time to check in with Greta Van Susteren for a... You have some big announcement. I can just tell.
Actually, I do. Actually, I have no announcement. Senator Rick Santorum has an announcement. He'll be here, but I have no announcement. I'm gonna be here for the next, I don't know how many years, so I have no announcement. But we have a lot of big guests tonight because there's a huge fight in this town about the budget. We have Senator John McCain, Senator John Thune, Senator Jim DeMint, and there is so much to talk about because over my left shoulder there are a lot of problems.
Yeah.
That's Capitol Hill.
Well,
so
listen to Democrats. Republicans want women to die and children to die and old people to eat cat food. It's true. They say it, so it's got to be true.
I don't know, cat food. My cats eat pretty well, but anyway.
All right, I just wanted to be a guest on your show, so I figured I'd stick in that
You can
comment.
be a guest. You can be a guest. Stick around. You got to stay up a little late to past 10.
Greta's up next. Let not your heart be troubled. Our great American panel straight ahead. And tonight on our great American panel, he's a Democratic strategist, and he's best friends with New York Senator Chuck Schumer. And he was actually on the phone call as Chuck gave up his talking points. Chris Hahn is here. He is an Emmy and Peabody Award-winning comedian. He's appearing next week at the Punchline out in Sacramento, California. It's on April the 21st through the 23rd.
You should come on your private jet.
Oh, I don't have a private jet. Do you? He also works on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. What's Stewart like in real life? You like him?
Yeah, he's a very nice.
He's a big fan of mine. I can just tell by watching the show. Paul Mercurio is here, and she is a columnist for the Sun Sentinel. Republican strategist Noelle Nick-Poor is with us. Well, beyond the fact that that the president thinks that what?
The speech.
It was awful. I mean, I think it was mean-spirited. I think it was...
Oh, toughen up.
No, do you not think it was a promotion of class warfare?
Well, if I was sitting here talking about Democrats don't want kids with autism help, don't want kids with Down syndrome help, old people have to die.
It's a perfect response to Ryan's Purina plan, as I like to call it, because most seniors will be eating food prepared by Purina if it ever comes to fruition.
You know what? I just won money because I was betting who'd be the first person to go to the cat food analogy.
Plan. Hey, no, Purina makes dog food too, Sean. I just want to be clear about that.
Both sides do this. The insulting thing was, you said it earlier, it was a political speech. It was vague. I mean, I've seen more detail in the scrambled Cinemax porn channel on my cable system.
Is that what you watch?
Yeah. You should
All right, that's pretty
we'll
pathetic. All right, well, you work for Jon Stewart.
Well on the Daily Show.
You know what I noticed, which I thought was really funny, is the rich did not put us in this debt problem. It was the government that put us in the debt problem, but yet they're looking at the rich to bail it out.
Well, you know what? If we went back to the Clinton-era tax rates, we would be exactly where we were then with surpluses.
The benefit of Reaganomics, honey.
Well, you know, he didn't destroy the tax policy. He didn't bring us into 2 wars and then decide to cut taxes.
The problem is for the American voter is nobody knows. In 12 years, okay, my son's going to be like 22, and I don't know what's going to happen in 12 years, and the voters don't know because everybody's talking in cliches, okay? Obama says we need to use a scalpel and not a machete, okay? Which threw me because I thought he'd say we need to use a green card, not a birth certificate. But, you know, and then the Republicans are no better, okay? I mean, is there ever a Republican plan that doesn't involve protecting tax cuts and tax cuts for the rich?
Well,
I mean, it's so predictable. It's like dating a girl under 30 and trying to find somebody without a tramp stamp.
Here's the problem, Sean. The problem for Democrats right now is Republicans have moved the debate so far to the right that when the Democrats come back with something, it's really center-right. It's not even to the left anymore.
Right, let me educate both of you because now I'm getting annoyed. What you don't understand is that when the rich people that they're demonizing, and look, for all the people, I pay over 50% in taxes. As most working Americans, the bottom 50% pays 2.9% of the bill. When those rich people stop buying watches like that, stop going to expensive restaurants, I was a cook, I was a bartender, I was a busboy, I was a waiter, okay? When they stop going on vacation, stop going to hotels, who's impacted? When the rich takes their money and invest it in another country because we're so not business friendly in this country.
Sean,
That's not a cliche. That is real economics.
The reason why rich are rich is because they can afford to do those things.
Oh, really?
I don't want to do it here anymore.
I don't want to tax.
What about George Soros, who makes money betting against the American dollar?
We're not talking about George Soros right now. We're talking about the rich in general. And what I'm saying is I don't want to tax people so that they can't spend their money.
But they define rich as a small business.
We're talking about a 3% increase in the incremental tax rate. This is not putting people back to the Reagan-era taxation. If we went back to the Reagan-era taxation, we would still be in a good place.
You know what Obama says? Obama says we don't begrudge the rich, yet we want to punish the rich.
Nobody
wants to punish anybody. He wants to balance it out.
What about the tax?
Why is it all or nothing with you? That's what I don't understand.
Why is 50% of people's income not enough for you? How much do you want of people's income? Whatever happened to liberty and freedom?
No, but you want it to go down. We don't want it to go up insofar as that it's at least stay where it is and sort of not have look, you want to solve this problem between Medicaid, Medicare, and the defense. Here's my solution.
Let me show Biden.
Take old people, stuff them into a cannon, and shoot them at Libya, okay? Then you don't have to worry about their Medicaid and Medicare.
And bring them a couple bags
we save
of
money on
Frito
this.
on the way.
Everybody's
You're going to be a segment on your own show. I mean, all right, by the way, this is Joe Biden watching the speech as we go out here. He was really captivated by the...
He's meditating, Sean. He's pondering.
Well, watch the head, Bob, and then tell me if he...
He's saying yes, Mr.
For like a straight minute. There's Biden. Wait.
All right, I can't defend this anymore. I'm sorry.
He's saying to himself,
Wake up, Joe.
He's saying to himself, it could have been me.
All right.
Joe,
it could have
wake
been me.
up.
It should have been
We're
me.
not on Amtrak right
With
now.
our great American panel, straight ahead. All right, we continue now with our great American panel. All right, so we all have had the groping and the padding
Oh,
and
here
the
we go.
fondling.
What? You like it.
I do not like it.
You invite it. You
Stop projecting your feelings onto me. I mean, if that's how you feel about being...
Look, that hair, man. I can't.
What is up with your hair? I mean,
Hey, I don't want to have a conversation about hair, please.
You should
All right?
stay out
who
of
are
this.
you to talk about that?
Exactly. The only person who I can make fun of is Donald Trump, your guest tomorrow night. Quite frankly, he makes me happy I'm bald.
Oh, he should be president. Then we can declare bankruptcy, and then he can brag about how much money we have.
Oh, no, please.
Tell him I said hello.
I don't want the White House
Is
to
this
be the gold house.
so let me guess.
You know?
For the Jon Stewart show, there's like
I wanna talk
60
about Jon Stewart.
there's 60 liberals sitting around a room, and this is what you do. You just beat up
That show, I'm
conservatives.
just a monkey. I do a little warm-up thing,
Oh,
and I
you don't
show
do
up. I don't know.
that.
Anyway, back to you.
Yeah, I noticed
Go
you're
ahead.
bailing out of that fast. All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we all go through the groping, fondling, grabbing, touching, squeezing, whatever it happens to be. All right. By the way, I don't really care. You can do whatever you want to me, except I prefer to go through... I don't know, but do you want to be seen naked?
You want some wine and music with it?
Ben Franklin said it best.
But look at this. A 6-year-old girl.
Yeah, it's
You got to be
ridiculous.
kidding me.
No,
And-
listen. Anything that
Stop.
keeps kids off a plane, I don't care. I really don't. Honestly, listen. They're not sure what to tell her, like what that was about. Just say, look, you were in a long line. You were aggressively touched by a stranger in a costume. You were at Disneyland. Just tell her that.
No, but I think this was too much, you guys. This was too much. This was a kid. What does she have? What is she going to do?
First of all, look at
Blow
that.
up
You can't.
something?
You don't see anything protruding. There's no
I'm the
bomb.
only
You know
one
what?
that disagrees
Honestly-
because this is the new world order. The terrorists aren't these guys with
Right.
goatees.
It's not that little girl
Well, you
either.
don't know that anymore.
No, I'm looking at her. Wait, tell me where the bomb is.
They have you
Franklin
checking
said-
lotion as part of the
Ben
war on
Franklin
terror.
said those who sacrifice liberty for security deserve neither. We've been sacrificing our liberty for this ridiculous sense of security,
Aren't
which
you
is not
friends with
real
Chuck Schumer?
security.
Didn't he get mad?
No,
that's
that's
the other.
not
You know,
right.
I think it's
That's
time. I
not
think it's
right.
time we have some real
Listen,
security at the airports and not
So
this
you're gonna
show
defend-
that they have there. They're
Chris,
patting down
Chris,
6-year-old and my
yo.
grandmother.
Yeah, but you're
No,
not-
Chris, you're actually going to defend this little girl, not,
No, he's
letting her
agreed.
go in.
I don't
No,
want
the
the little
three-
girl to be pat down. I don't want that grandmother.
The three of
being
you
pat-
agree,
think
and
it's
I
a little
disagree.
ridiculous.
I really do. I mean, they have me checking. I travel all the time.
So
and they
do
have
I.
me check lotion, and I'm still, because of that idiot Richard Reed with the shoe
What are you
bomber,
doing with the
I'm still
lotion?
checking. Well,
I don't wanna go there. It's a family show.
That wasn't me. And so
Every time I go on, I carry this hand sanitizer stuff.
Right.
Get stopped.
They rob it from me, and then I have to go right in the next room and buy a new one.
No, that's the good people at Perel
Well,
are
that's
making their
because the
money.
war on terror has nothing to do with ideological difference.
What do they do with all those products? Where do all those products
These
go?
guys have-
By the way, I bring this every
Tremendous hair
time
care
he's
product.
on because then I don't want to get liberal jerks.
The war on terror is a...
I'm a progressive,
is
Sean, please.
Is a conspiracy
Progressive
by the
jerk.
Colgate-Palmolive people to get you to buy more lotions and toothpaste. That's all it is.
Oh,
no,
a conspiracy theory.
Tell that to
I
the
love
people that died
You know,
on
I
9/11.
use
Listen,
one bottle of shampoo a year, except for when I fly.
I'm not minimizing that, but and honestly, look, I have a kid. It's unsettling to see it, but I'd rather that right now because I think you're right. We're not sure where it's coming from, and it's certainly not coming from the typical terrorist guy that we all think of in our minds.
But I think we
that,
should
but-
profile. I think we should profile.
What about that?
I think that
I
there
agree
are
with
certain
you.
people
I agree.
that, I mean, come on.
All right,
this
so
kid.
we're going to give more attention to an exchange student from Yemen than we will a 6-year-old girl or a 90-year-old grandmother.
We should.
We should, unless the grandmother has a little bit of a beard, which is possible at that age.
That is so wrong. That is so wrong.
I'm Italian. I can say that.
Up with that.
That was so wrong.
But
Don't you think when they see when the terrorists are standing on the
I
sidelines?
hope your grandmother hears this.
She did.
She did. She just rolled over in a grave.
DVRing it.
When the terrorists see us checking lotion and shoes in part of the war on terror, I feel like they're standing off to the side going, "Oh, look at them checking lotion and shoes." They have no idea we're going to blow them up with bobby pins and M&Ms. Like they are so far ahead of where we are anyway.
But they're not, because we actually fought this battle for 8 years, and while people on the left demonized it, we've been very effective. Now, with all that said, there are people out there that hold this Islamic extremist view. Now, Belgium and France, they said no to the burqa.
Well, yeah, look at that.
But isn't that necessary?
They should. Look, that is a terrorist risk right there. You can't see anything. You just see eyes. Number one, and number two.
In the winter in Vermont, you can't see anything either.
Would that be a case where we profile? Is that fair? Do you concerned if people are fully covered, loose clothing?
Yes.
If you don't have a way to be able to monitor what people are doing when they're getting on the plane, then maybe you have to pat them down. But I think patting down a 4-year-old or a 6-year-old is kind of ridiculous right now. So you
what about? I'm asking about people.
A woman in a burqa. If you can't scan her, I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
Listen, I want religious liberty. I feel that often the case that religious liberty doesn't exist for women that live under Sharia.
I agree.
And I think the adjustments have to be made for a new world order. And if that means you have to adjust your religious views and your religious practices, then so be it.
I really have a hard time believing that God cares how we dress. That's just me.
All right, hang on a second.
Look,
I may be shaking your hand after
But
this
who
segment.
am I to judge? I'm somebody who could be judging these people.
Fundamentalists,
So I don't get progressive germs. What?
Fundamentalists can get to anybody. They got the Cat Stevens.
Well,
See that?
by the way, he was at your rally, which we should talk about next time.
Okay, all right.
All the time we have left. Greta's next. Thanks for being with us.
Writes a great song.
We'll see you tomorrow.